Kings hit the court, watch the magic go down. In the Kings court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the Kings shining star. Expect the unexpected, this is where it's at. From NBA insights to the latest chit-chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the Kings court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the Kings shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the Kings court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the Kings shining star.
I hate to hit you with this. To begin a week, to begin a Monday. Sorry for the technical difficulties. You know, the routine around here is pretty simple. I do my due diligence in the morning. I have some conversations, exchange some emails, have some personal time, do my reading, and then it's time to load the show. It's time to get everything set. For those that don't know, I don't have written comments and written takes. I just have subjects. And that is why you get graphics when we talk about those subjects. And literally 5 minutes before the show starts, everything's ready and everything starts going. Just like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it wasn't an internet issue. It's our program. So happy Monday. It is an airing of Grievances Monday, which means time to air your grievances. We've got a lot to talk about from last night. It's the last time you'll have Kings basketball until October. Get, training camp, media day, all that. So we will air our grievances, but many of you know our schedule already. So we're kicking off. It's Motivational Monday. We got to get to Scott Perry. Here we go, y'all. Whenever you focus on your problems and limitations rather than your opportunities and possibilities in any given situation, that is exactly what will be realized in your life. Remain focused on seeing the promise made manifest in your life, and you will find that the light will shine through in every circumstance. You ready to run through a wall? You ready to bench press 900 pounds? You ready to hammer out those emails you've been avoiding since last week? Scott got you right there. It's a decent Motivational Monday. I'm here for it. I'm good with it. Certainly the big talking point is last night and the Kings loss to the Hornets. If you were with us for the pregame, the Kings did the exact thing that I said they couldn't do. Not New Orleans, but the Hornets. Don't you always think about the Hornets with New Orleans, not the Pelicans? Anyways. I don't know. It's Charlotte Hornets. Anyways, okay. You get what I'm saying. The whole hurricane thing, and they went to play. Okay, we're good. But anyways, back to what I was saying. You couldn't allow the Hornets to get out to a big lead. It's what they did in their 2 games previous to this. 25 against San Antonio, 34-13 run. And then Oklahoma City, 29 points to end the game. And the Kings did that. 3-point shooting, not good. 20 20.6% to close the game, yet the Kings had a chance to win. They had a chance to freaking win. So if you want to talk about, well, we should have had the title, which would have been Sacramento's third, and you might have been holding one of those tickets plus 8,000, plus 10,000, plus 3,000. So it meant a little more to you on that front. We can talk about some of the decision making. Should Neek have missed that free throw on purpose at the end of the game? Should Devin Carter have been pulled off the ball sooner? We can dissect those things, but the bottom line is the Kings got what they wanted out of this summer. First and foremost, no real injuries. I know Mace was dealing with the oblique, which he's a warrior for playing through that. I also know that Max missed a game with wrist soreness, nothing serious, came back and played. And then certainly Devin was very vocal about his shoulder to start Summer League, but nothing that kept anybody from playing in the finals. There's plenty of time to heal up those little things unless we hear of something bigger. Your first victory and what the Kings wanted was nobody getting hurt, especially Max or Neek. So we got that accomplished too. You had the ball in Neek's hands to close the game with the title on the line. You know, that's about as good of a look as you can get for a young guy. You had Max in there as well. You saw limitations from both of them. Neek did not have a great game last night, did not have a great game the game before. Max getting pushed around a little bit more, to be expected. You saw a big difference between Kalkbrenner and Max at times. The Kings didn't have an answer for Kalkbrenner, but then I'm going to also go to this. When we started Summer League, and somebody, I forget who it was, they asked me, they're like, what are you looking at? Maybe I was on a show with Grant. Grant asked me, like, what exactly are you looking at in the summer? I'm looking at how the players have improved in the areas that they've been asked to improve at. How have they gotten their bodies bigger? How have they developed things into their games? Isaac Jones, off on a little bit, but very consistent, actually. I don't want to say off and on, but from a scoring standpoint, you know, it wasn't a steady 25, 26 every night. But Isaac Jones, who many of you saw probably airball multiple three-pointers during Summer League, he's been asked to play more like a 4, to incorporate that corner 3 into his game. What's he do? When the game's on the line, dude shoots a 3 despite the air balls from the free throw line flying extended, which wasn't the shot he was working on, and he makes it. So, like, the confidence there, I think the Kings got what they needed to see. That includes Devin Carter as well. We're going to talk about that. I thought there was one stretch specifically in the second quarter where the wheels came off the wagon for Devin Carter in that point guard role. Now, he did play pretty well defensively. He had a couple of good drives there in the first half, but I think I can definitively say Devin Carter is not ready to be this team's backup point guard. Now, is he ready to be a different role on this team? Sure, but is that role available to him? So we'll go through all that. We'll go through the game. We've got some audio. I've also got video of those 3 plays that I'm talking about. It was all in succession. It was from the 8-minute mark in the second quarter to the 5-minute mark in the second quarter. We have grievances as well, which we have talked about. So we will get to those. WNBA All-Star game over the weekend. The players coming out and wearing shirts, pay us what, or it's something along the lines of pay us what we're owed. It's something like that. I've got the graphic of it. We'll talk about it. Is it going to be in the grievances? Maybe. We'll also get your phone calls. If you want to call in, use the link that is in the chat. We have now hit the slow time of the summer, but football is starting to open up. Camps are beginning to come together so we can talk football. We might introduce a new segment on Wednesday that's going to test all of our basketball knowledge. So I'll let you in on that as the show goes along, but definitely want to hear from you. What were you thinking? Give me your grades for the Kings overall this summer. I'll give you mine as the show goes along. Thank you, Dennis. Pay us what you owe us. Odd look. If you were with us on Friday, I did about 15 minutes on the WNBA and the CBA, the players opting out, which means they need to go negotiate a new one for, I believe it would be not next season, but the following season. Maybe it is next season. I'll double check that. But the players at the All-Star game coming out and wearing those. Oh, and then also, what did you think if you watched it about the format of the All-Star game? Other things that we're not going to get to, but I'm willing to talk about, Scotty Scheffler winning the British Open. He had some comments like winning, isn't kind of everything. Winning's not as fun as you think. There's other things in life. I don't have any problem with it. I love it. Life is about balance. So all that, much more to go into here on a Monday, Jerry Reynolds Tuesday tomorrow. Don't forget about that. Tell a friend. And would you do me a favor? Usually we get between X and YouTube. This would mean a lot to me, honestly. Usually we get from X and YouTube any time for the live show somewhere in between 200 and 500 viewers. Can we get to 25 likes on YouTube every day? At least that would be huge to me. I would really appreciate that. And I appreciate all you that like it every time you're here. But if you're kind of like on the fringe and maybe you don't like me, but you still watch the show, maybe that means you kind of like the show. Give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. Retweet it. Do whatever. We're trying to grow the brand, and it is growing tremendously, and that is all because of you. So thank you very much. Let's, in fact, get to all of you. Let's start talking about the game. Get your opinions in here. See what we're going to be talking about today, or what you want to talk about today. I will go from the top. The first in, Grant Napier's here. See, my system is still acting weird. Is it the system or is it the mouse? We'll see. BJ Shipperds. Yes, I got to get that sound drop. What's up, Tris? Rhino, scale of 1 to 10. How excited are we to bring back McBuckets? Did he get brought back? Did that just happen in the last hour? Is McBuckets coming back? Been dealing with the tech over here. Doug McDermott to return to the Kings on a 1-year deal. Just dropped. I'm fine. Look, you weren't going to be able to, you're not going to get Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles is going to want some more money. Now, does he deserve more money? Maybe. Doug probably was good for maybe 1 win last year altogether with his contributions. It's not going to affect the team. Doug is the fire escape. He's the fire alarm. In case of emergency, pull this lever. It's how Doug Christie used him last year. If the Kings needed a shot in the arm. My only question would be, have they really looked on? You just left Summer League, right? You just left Summer League. PJ Hall, a guy that was playing for the Hornets, got signed to a different team before the finals, so he didn't play for the Hornets. Was there anybody else that may have stood out to you at that position? I mean, I'm good with it. Look, it's not going to change the season. So Tristan, 5. I'll give you a 5. Wish we should have waited on McBuckets. I can see that argument there. So how many of you see that signing and you are ready to say, hey, Rhino, Hit the button.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about
it. Raise your hand. Call the show. I mean, I like Doug. I think he's a consummate professional. More times than not, when he was called on, he was ready to do his job. And his job was to come in and shoot threes. Whether he made them or not, that was a different thing. I mean, he shot it at a 44% clip last year. I don't hate it, but I think that signing kind of tells you the Kings' mindset. They know what they're going to roll with this year. They know what they are going to roll with their core. This is a way to fill a spot at a position where you are somewhat thin, because did you get any clarity? I guess this is the question to ask. Last night watching Con Knipple, you saw why he was the third pick overall. He's kind of that do a little bit of everything guy that Charlotte wants him to be. And that is exactly what he was at Duke, right next to Cooper Flagg. You could see the difference between him and Anique. Why Clifford was taken much later than Con was taken. But watching Anique in these last two games get into foul trouble, kind of, you're playing against bigger guys in both games. Does it question whether he's going to be able to play the three defensively and play it effectively? Maybe. It's too early to say. Again, if you're looking at it, competition, Summer League here, G League here, NBA here. So we'll have to see preseason. I know he can do it offensively, but still, little undersized. What did you think about those guys' size going up against Con last night? What did you think about IJ on Con? Give me your thoughts on that. But Doug, I mean, it is what it is. I guess probably the only question that I would ask is why now and why not wait to see if anybody, gets freed up. I've got to imagine Doug's probably not going to be signed between now and training camp by another team. That would be my assumption. So why not wait? I mean, you saw how Doug Christie used him last year. It's exactly what he's going to be this year. It's minutes at the end of games or minutes where the Kings cannot throw a pea in the Pacific. Those are the two circumstances. He's taking a valuable roster spot. Well, again, though, with what the Kings had to work with, it's kind of, it kind of is what it is. We know that they have to fill spots with a little amount of money. So, Peter, I played it for you. Sean says it is overwhelming. Tristan, exactly what I just said. Sean, I agree. What an underwhelming move. We already hit Motivational Monday. Let's bring Lyles back too. Well, that's the thing. You can't afford to bring Lyles back. I don't think Lyles is taking a 3.6 contract unless a 1 year, 3.6 million, unless it's with a contender. And as far as I've seen, Lyles has not landed anywhere yet. We've still got these guys that are kind of up in the middle, the sign-in trades, the restricted guys. I had a graphic for it, but it went away because the system rebooted. So we'll put that up tomorrow. He's a good locker room. Tough. Why they wanted to lock him in today. Yeah, that's my main question. Why today? Why now? Grant is a huge Dougie fan. Yeah. Grant is going to be super happy to hear about Doug. If you call Grant and you say that, Grant, we know you're a huge Doug fan, you're going to get this.
Nobody's going to be a moron when they love this team, is what I'm saying.
You're going to get a moron drop from Grant, and deservedly so. Grant will be back tomorrow, by the way. Kings GM is corny. Why do you say that? Doge? Lyles? No, he's not. Let's see. What's up, Flores? How you doing, buddy? What's up, dude? Trying to. Woo! There we go. Get some sound drops mixed in. We need a GM, not passes from meditations. Need a GM, not passes from meditations. Oh, medications. No, meditations by Marcus. Sorry, the chat's going. I'm like, wait, it's moving. More like Choklahoma City. They won the title. You guys are doing this internal stuff. Kings get a runner-up banner. I don't know. You must be a fan of participation trophies too. You know, I will say this: those rings that they would have got, those things are pretty nice. Just saying. Like, I don't think it's a ring that's going to be personalized. It's just a general, like, NBA Summer League Champions ring. If you need the money, that'll get you like 50 grand, probably, the amount of gold and diamonds that was in that. Vivek was in the house last night. First time that I have seen Vivek publicly since he threw out the first pitch. What'd y'all think about that? It's been a while.
Here to start us off with our two favorite words is the Kings owner and chairman, Vivek Ranadive. Take it away. Play ball.
Okay. The entire chat's like McBuckets, McBuckets, McBuckets. Peter, if they can stay, you want like double AARP, depends. I think Al Horford has the Depends sponsorship already. The Clippers get Chris Paul. The Lakers get Marcus Smart. You know, if the Clippers can stay healthy, just maybe. If James Harden can find it in the playoffs consistently for the first time in his career, maybe. But I do like what the Clippers have done this offseason. They were able to kind of revamp that roster without giving up a ton, I would say, and revamp it within reason, because they don't want to be in the second apron. They might be close to the second apron. Peter will clear that up. Paul, what's up, man? Does anybody else see a great improvement of Devin Carter's performance compared to last year? The shots, and I feel weird saying this. Okay, when Devin gets hot, the shot's on. When he doesn't get hot, the shot's off. In fact, we might as well roll through these really quick, and we'll get back to the chat. I thought this last night was a big turning point in the game. There's, I think, 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left, and the Kings just could not get anything going. Nothing going. If you're watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then all of the sudden, you get this boost of energy. You get a shot of adrenaline, like your Monday motivations from Scott Perry. Anyways, you get this huge putback dunk by Daquan Plowden. And it's like, okay, Kings woke up. This might wake up the Kings. Here's the play. Check this thing out. Boom! Even brought ownership out of its seat. Vivek's rocking a shorter haircut, by the way. Did Vivek look any different to anybody yesterday? And I mean this with all due respect. I'm just curious. I'm curious. Did Vivek look the same to you? Something just seemed different about Vivek. So anyways, you get that huge dunk, right? And it's like, all right, feed the beast. Let's go. Let's go. Maybe that puts that energy in this team that you need. The very next possession, what does Plowden do? He does this, the epitome of Kings basketball. Get up on the ball. Get there. Dive on the floor. Off of Charlotte. All right, here we go. The run is coming. The run's definitely coming, okay? Well, now what you're not going to see is you're not going to see Devin Carter come down. No, excuse me. Let me backtrack. Then the Kings get the rebound, okay? And look at this. This is the exact moment after watching all of Summer League trying to be very fair to Devin and weighing the pros, weighing the cons, not letting the highs be too high and the lows be too low, like trying to be a very fair grader, in my opinion. In my basketball mind, IQ, what I know of the game, opinion. And then you see this play after Clouden had just made back-to-back plays. Check out what happens. Outlet to Carter. Clouden. Throw the ball anywhere towards the first row. Clouden's going up and getting that. You had the opportunity to really stun the Hornets, and Devin doesn't even see it. Look at that. And he settles for a three. That ended up being the first of 3 triples that he shot in a row under similar circumstances. He went 1 of 3 during that stretch. The Kings still were able to pull it back in to what I thought was a pretty good distance compared to where they were at the beginning of the second quarter at halftime. But that is why you saw Mason Jones back in the starting lineup start the second half. The Kings pulled the plug, in my opinion. They pulled the plug on the Devin Carter because the Kings were heavily focused towards having Devin run the offense in the first half last night. And this was not, what the Kings did was not all Devin's fault in the first half. They were just discombobulated. They didn't look right. They weren't pressuring. It was like they kind of got punched in the face right out the bat or right out the game. And they did, because that is what Charlotte does. It's what they did to their last 2 opponents. But the Kings clearly, to start the third quarter, pulled the plug on the Devin Carter point guard experience. That is when you saw Isaiah Stevens, you saw other guys bringing the ball up. I know Devin still brought the ball up, but there was not an intentional emphasis on making Devin or having Devin run the point after that. I mean, this is, you can't miss this pass. I'm sorry. When a guy, this goes back to like the point guard kind of thing. When you've got a guy that comes down, gives you a boost of adrenaline after a huge putback dunk like that, when the Kings defensively really had not been pressuring much at all, that's after the dunk. And then you have the opportunity to hit this dude on a Sports Center oop that any of you probably could have thrown. And it ends up in a 3-pointer while you're trying to make a run. I understand the Kings closed the gap, but 12 points. Look at the score there. 12 points at this time. It was like, holy crap, the Kings are back within 12. So I just think that they have seen what they needed to see for this season. And I do not think it is fair to judge Devin Carter based upon solely his ability to play the point guard position. There's other things he does well defensively. In some way, actually not in some ways, he is a smart decision maker offensively at times. So you know he understands basketball, but his ability to consistently, that's the word, consistently identify the right play isn't always there. In fact, I would argue Devin has 3 go-tos right now when he's bringing the ball up. If he's not seeing the play develop around him, he's either picking the ball up, sometimes in a place where you don't want it picked up, and making that immediate, that first outlet pass that's right there. He's either taking a few extra dribbles and trying to get to the paint, where he either puts up a floater or he kicks out, which hitting paint and kicking out, we know that's important in the NBA. Or 3, he shoots the 3 ball. Those are the 3 aspects. And I know he had 2 back-to-back drives last night that some other people covering the Kings complimented him on and were pointing out, but I think they're on the same page with me. We can't, I just don't think it's fair to judge him based upon what he's doing at the point guard role. He's going to be a good player somewhere. I just think it's not going to be Sacramento because Sac needs that point guard. They do. I mean, what did you guys think about those plays? When I saw that missed oop, I'm just like, oh man. In front of Doug, in front of everybody, Vivek. I mean, read the room. This guy has a Sports Center highlight dunk put back when the teams had zero energy. None at all. He immediately comes back, does this. Sorry for the camera work. Look at that. To me, that's Sacramento Kings basketball in a nutshell. That's what they want 3 years from now. That's what you kind of could have had this season at times if you don't lose Jake LaRavia. But then to have the opportunity, when the big men run the floor like this, you have got to feed them. That's probably the easiest pass in basketball, honestly. With a guy like that, Clouden, that's that athletic, you throw it anywhere around that backboard. And there's nobody around him. Look at the defenders. The defender didn't even know that Clouden was there. Did you see that? The defender's like, oh, crap. He just ran behind me. Watch him flinch. Oh, Clouden's there. And he goes right to him. So I think that is when they said, you know what, let's pull the plug on that. Let's just let Devin do what Devin does best. He's a combo. Exactly, Doge. He's a combo guy. That's what he was drafted as. In a sense, I appreciate Doug Christie. I appreciate Scott Perry trying to find a place on the roster for Devin Carter. Saying, you know, we value what you do on the other side, but Scott Perry has been super, super clear about this. We want guys that can do it on both ends. And regardless of Devin being able to score, which he has shown this summer, that's not what they need from him on that end of the court. What they need from him is the ability to keep the ball moving and make an open shot. If you're open, the ability to run the offense, handle the pressure. And he wasn't the only one. Some of the other Kings were having issues handling the pressure as well. I would argue the competition last night and the competition against Toronto in the semifinal game was closer to the level of a G League game than their previous games. So some of the Kings Neek had a little bit of issue with that. But I just don't think you can wait on Devin. Tell me where he's going to fit in now. If you had Jake LaRavia, it's a different story. It's a completely different story. BJ, Carter needs time. He's a good bench guy, like his defensive mindset. I completely agree. He was brought in by the front office that's no longer here to be a combo guy that could maybe do a little bit of point, can definitely play defense, can definitely rebound, and hopefully be able to hit a not open shot once in a while. He wasn't brought here to be a point guard. It's tough. Teams are going to see value in Devin Carter. You look at his numbers this summer, you're going to see the value there too. But the value of Devin Carter for this Kings team right now, that's the thing. If Scott Perry wants to have a defensive-minded team, you can't keep Devin Carter on your bench for the next 2.5 years until you have built out a defensive team. Because this season, it's not going to be a defensive team. It's going to be an offensive team. There's no way this team can be a defensive team. Especially now that and again, McBuckets doesn't change the Kings' outlook, but you know he's not known for his defense either. Even though he's on the end of the bench, there's too much of a logjam at guard. Well, yeah, the Kings need to figure out who your backup point guard is. Period. End of story. I mean, how would you guys do it today? I think Neek Clifford probably, in a sense, might hurt Mace Jones's chance of getting a look at that backup point guard job. I hope I'm wrong, but I would argue Mace is more equipped to be a backup point guard. Understand me. Mace is more equipped to be a backup point guard for the Kings than Devin Carter. Understand the difference there. Paul, BJ, I'm wondering about if we can get a better all-around to sit on the bench. Don't think Devin is a Davion type defender. Okay, so you can't compare him to Davion because they're different. There's a lot of guys in the NBA that say Davion is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. That's not Devin's game. Devin showed a couple flashes last night. He had a good couple of possessions of on-ball defense. I think one of them caused a block shot or even close to a shot clock violation. But that was Davion's game. Davion wasn't in there rebounding like Devin. Davion wasn't getting deflections like Devin gets. So they're both very good defenders, just in different ways. It's like Carter is learning the point guard position from Levine. Oh my gosh. Damn.
Bunch of dogs.
Damn. That's cold. Justin, that's wrong. Peter, Devin wasn't Scott Perry's pick. So if he can be traded for value or match contract, he's gone. Yeah, I do think, and again, this is not going to be one of those things where it's like Devin Carter doesn't have a spot in the NBA. I fully expect Devin Carter to probably get, by the time he's at where Davion is at, in terms of years in the league, I would expect Devin Carter to be probably on par with Davion. Now, not at the point guard, but on par with Davion in terms of pay and impact on his team, but in what he does best, in defense, in shooting an open three ball, in getting to the rim, rebounding. He is a tweener. Yes, 100%. 110%. All right, let's air a grievance, and we'll keep talking about the Kings. I'll make it simple. I will kick our grievances off this week. And it's almost... It's more of a grievance kind of at myself, but we'll get there. Like, I kind of felt bad, but it's kind of funny. So we're going to do it anyways. The airing of grievances on Monday. Here we go. I'm going to give you my first one.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Here's my first grievance. It's McDonald's. Other than Bennett, who has better, legendary breakfast for cheap. I love McDonald's, but I don't eat it anymore. I can't eat it. In fact, it's one of those things that you love going down and then you hate after you're done eating. It's like after you have McDonald's breakfast, you want to chase it with a 2 cheeseburger meal for lunch because you're looking for the same feeling, and it just makes it worse and worse and worse. So we are at McDonald's fairly frequently, especially if there is a toy that my son wants to get. And if they have and if my wife and I, we think that like the toy they're giving out, it's kind of a cool set, then we'll go a little bit more often, but we never get anything for ourselves. It's just getting him his Happy Meal. And so we fight that battle each time. We see the promos. If you've got the app, they're trying to give you free fries for $1, etc., or cheap fries for $1, etc., etc. And so they have been giving out these mini McDonald's toys. They're kind of actually cool. I'm not going to lie. They're like little soda machines, little golden Happy Meal boxes. And they come in these little Happy Meal boxes as well. And so we went, it's to the point And we are not proud that we are feeding our son
The airing
this
of
much
grievances.
McDonald's.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
I can promise you he is not going to be making Super Size Me 3. We will get that under control, but we're going to different McDonald's so we don't get the same toy. We've maxed out the Elk Grove McDonald's. So now it's like, all right, South Sac, we got to hit one of you. And we get the same thing every time. Plain cheeseburger, meat, bun, cheese. And I would probably say 25% of the time, it's wrong. We've had the cheese not be on there. We've had the ketchup and mustard. We've had a regular cheeseburger. But we had something that we had never experienced before. We're pulling through with the drive-thru, and I'm like, son, check your burger. Make sure it's good. And he starts opening the Happy Meal. He looks at the burger, and he looks at me with this confused face. And I'm like, everything okay? Is it good? And he just hands it to me. It is a cheeseburger without any burger. It is bun, cheese, bun. It was a cheese sandwich. And we're like, oh my gosh. Woo! And so we go back into McDonald's. This poor manager, and this is why I really wanted to share it. This poor manager, he can't be any older than 23, 24. He's standing there. He's like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, my son's Happy Meal has a cheeseburger without the burger. And it was like that look, like we have hit an all-time low. It looked like he knew exactly who did it. He looked like it was like the last straw for whoever did not put the burger in the cheeseburger. And I felt bad having to do that to the manager and getting that cleaned up. But freaking McDonald's.
The airing
man.
of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
I hope I didn't
you're gonna hear about it.
Cause somebody to lose their job. It was a grilled cheese, right? But that was the thing. It wasn't even grilled. It was like just room temperature cheese and 2 buns. And they want how much for an hourly employee? Hey, McDonald's was given signing bonuses back in the day. Signing bonuses after COVID. Look, I gotta think it's muscle memory. Have you ever looked at those lines? So my wife, her first job was at McDonald's. And I'm like, can you clue me in on like some of these, give me some secrets. You know, like how are you remembering the recipes? Well, they put everything up like for you to see. Like it's right there, but it's like muscle memory. You see cheeseburger on the screen. You do the fast read. You're not like reading everything and you're just grabbing everything right there and you're throwing it together and throwing it out. So I get it. I mean, the kid may have been, the kid that made it might have been a little high. I don't know. They deserve to be fired. I just felt awful, man. That the look in the manager's eyes, it looked like he had just had a really, really bad day. And that was just, we've hit an all-time low. That was like, start the computer and look for a new job. That's what it was like. So I just felt bad for the kid and the manager. Managers pay a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I know there's a lot of money in ownership, but I also know, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about McDonald's. In fact, I'll take it to the audio only pod and tell you some from my days back in my previous life, tell you some stories about McDonald's ownership. Not necessarily ownership, but corporate. They are cutthroat. They don't mess around whatsoever. So anyways, that is my first grievance of the day. We're talking Kings basketball. We are talking about the Kings losing last night. This was something interesting that Brendan Nunes put out Wanted to throw that up for you. Notice IJ atop the list. Some, or at least Hoops Hype, had him at players that I forget what the age group was, but he came out with best stats at Summer League. There was only one player on this list that was younger than 23. So that's where we tell you, if you are somebody that stayed in school, you're probably gonna transition a little bit easier. So Liam's favorite restaurant has a wheel you spin for prizes on your birthday. Yes, it does. That is by far. Well, actually, it's his second favorite. Bennett's is his first favorite. His third favorite might be, we might be introducing you to a new sponsor here in the next couple of weeks. Actually, 2 new sponsors. So that third place, he likes a lot too. You can buy the toys by themselves sometimes, depending on the McDonald's. Well, we wanted him to get the full set. That's what we were aiming for. We wanted him to get the full set of these little McDonald's things. They are pretty cool. Not going to lie about that. So anyways, again, looking through the numbers last night, what jumped out to you if you watched the game? Give me a call. I can keep doing the heavy lifting. But if there's anything you liked about certain people you saw, I think Isaiah Stevens is going to be a great guy to watch develop down in Stockton at the point guard position. I would be really excited. In fact, I was emailing today with somebody in Stockton, and we were talking about a couple of the guys. So your 2 ways right now are Caldwell, Stevens, and you have a qualifying offer out to IC. Isaiah Crawford. So that is what it's looking like. I don't think we've gotten an update since the qualifying offer. If there is, I haven't seen one. So let me know, Peter, if you have that as well. But those are your 3 ways. Stevens is what the Kings need in terms of a point guard. Can he develop down in Stockton? I think if you watched, and this was kind of what I tried to get across to everybody on last night's pregame show, it's not so, I wouldn't have been so excited for the Kings winning a Summer League title because it's a title and it's the third one that they had won in 3 years, or third one most in the NBA. What I would have been excited about is with this new CBA, and in fact, Sam Presti saw this well before the CBA was agreed to. He started building his team with these same principles. But now it is about drafting well. It's about scouting. The scouting today is nuts. The person I was talking to, we're not even talking about college scouts. We're talking about UYBL scouting. You are starting to scout kids before they even step foot on a high school campus. Between AAU, youth basketball, like that's where it starts. So identifying some of these kids at a young age, as crazy as it sounds, because with NIL, they're only going to stay a year or 2. In some cases, they might stay longer because they'd make more money in college, depending on the situation. But back to why I would be excited is it would have been the ultimate stamp on the fact that the Kings are a top 3 team in the NBA at identifying, scouting, developing, having your child system work with your parent system, being on the same page, because not every G League team is like that. Some are different. Some are roll the ball out like G League Unite. Put what you can do on tape. Stockton doesn't run that way. What you saw a lot of today or yesterday and this summer was kind of how Stockton plays. It's up tempo. It's fast. That's what the Kings would theoretically like to do, although it's not going to probably happen this season. Scott has put the expectations fairly low, but that third championship would have been that stamp that the Kings right now, although you're looking at probably the bottom of the West, you've got good stuff going below you in the hopper. Now, you can make an argument, maybe Vivek's not paying attention. Good. That's great. It's awesome. That's what you want. They're doing good things there. And I know they're under the same building, it's the same front offices, but when you get an Isaac Jones, like this Isaac is now the second, and I'm not going to call him a Keon, he's not there, but you now have an organization that has identified two guys that went undrafted and has turned Keon Ellis into what ESPN had as a top 10 free agent guard this summer. Peter, our statistician. There you go. So we are right. That is predicted to be $2. Stop it, Peter. His offer is not $2. I know that for a fact. It's not $2. So the Kings are doing the right things. Now, you're not at a place with the main roster where you can dig in and rebuild, but you're starting to find guys, find value in getting them that fit your system, what you want to run. So the fact that, and to be fair, let's be fair about this. Isaac Jones has been asked to be a 4. They want him to develop into a 4. So he's getting now his roster spot and his playing time probably do not depend as much on that as Devin developing into a point guard. Depends on his time. But Isaac is doing what they ask. So anyways, to have Stockton go from Western Conference Finals to G League Championship, and then the Kings win the Summer League Championship with that same group that Stockton's developed, and now you're 2 rookies that were drafted. It's a heck of it means you're doing the right things at the bottom of the system. That's awesome. Love it. That's what you have to do in this CBA to be successful. And a guy that, this show is a big fan of, both him as a person and a player, Mason Jones. He's worked his way to where now he's played 51 games in the NBA over his 4-year career. When he came to Stockton saw value in him. Teams thought, okay, yeah, we've kind of maxed that out. It's not going to be here. And he came here, found a reason to transform his body, found a reason to transform his game. Ends up being the G League Finals MVP and leads a team to a championship. Dude has done all he can do, but he bought into it. Stockton is getting guys to buy in. I hope Mace lands somewhere. He can't do another 2-way deal with the Kings. You can only do 2 of them. And he has been a 2-way the last 2 years. So I would expect him to get an invite to training camp, especially with Devin's, I would say okay performance at point guard this summer. I'd bet Mace gets an invite unless another team picks him up, which very well could happen. That's not beyond the realm of possibilities. Jerry thinks that he is definitely on some other teams' radars, which is true. IJ can be similar to Yabusele from the Sixers. If you're talking about roles, yes, but I feel like they're completely different players. Super different. Isaac is freaky athletic. There was 2 plays, and I know one of the guys got ejected, but think about how different that game may have started off if Isaac would have gone up. This is how, it's just Isaac. It's how chill some of these guys are. Dude gets leveled in the face to start the game. That would have been a flagrant 1. Easy. But he didn't make anything of it. They had to stop the game. You see the replay. He had to get cotton up his nose. And they played on. That would have been interesting to see. I was surprised the refs did not take a look at that. Did not take a look at it. Again, Vivek, your entire team there last night to take it in. First time that I can remember seeing Vivek publicly since throwing out the first pitch at the A's game. Scott Perry You got Doug Christie, BJ Armstrong. You think BJ still run the point? I think he could run a little bit of point. What do you think? John Elmore?
Great vibe today.
Yeah,
Championship. We're here. We're ready. We're locked in. Bunch of dogs. Woo-woo!
All right, they're a bunch of dogs. There you go. Yeah, so Vivek present for that one. If the Kings would have won, I wonder if he would have credited Angeli for this one as well. But yeah, how's everything look good with Vivek? Yo, anything jump out to you? I know he has a shorter haircut, but just curious. If we shoot 40%, we probably win. I would agree. You only lost by 5. Couple things that I wrote down throughout the game, because if you go back and rewatch the first half, there was an emphasis on having Devin run the team. And I'm not solely putting the Kings' slow start on that. I'm not. They did not start well. IJ didn't get his first field goal attempt until 6:48 into the second quarter. He made it. I talked about the 3 plays in a row that finally sparked the Kings. First off, this was your first one. Comes out of nowhere, and it's like, all right, we're here. We're okay. We're only down, I think it was 15 at that point. Right away, does this on defense. Look at that hustle. Look at Plowden. Just get after it. And it became contagious. It started picking up things for the Kings. The Kings were battling back. Next play up the court, though, after the Kings missed a shot, they're out and running, and unfortunately, DC doesn't see Plowden behind the rim. The defender didn't even see Plowden until he ran by him. So you can imagine that would have been a timeout moment for Charlotte at really the halfway point. But we settled for a 3. And Devin settled for 3 triples in a row during that time. 1 for 3 for those 3 shots. So I thought that was a really kind of big turning point in that game. Daquan Plowden is number 29. He played really well last night. He gave them a nice boost off the bench. We've talked a lot about Devin. We have not talked much about Neek. We've not talked much about Max. If you want to weigh in on that, let me know. What is the name of that photo? Hear no, see no, thing no? I don't know what that means, Peter. You're throwing me, my man. 429. Yeah, that was rough. It's not so much about Stockton winning championships. It means that you have got some really good people in place. People that you don't hear their names, but that are working player development in Stockton, that are working player development with the Kings, that are working scouting. You've got people on the same page about what you're looking for, which is guys that you see value in, that fit into your system, that nobody else kind of sees it in. I don't need to rehash IJ's story. I don't need to rehash Keon's story. We've heard them a million times, but it's not a coincidence that the Kings go Western Conference Finals, then to G League champions, and then this summer, I said the floor was going to be the semifinals. They make the finals. Should have been. How Vegas was not clued in on this and had the Kings at like plus 10,000, plus 8,000, even plus 3,000 was ridiculous. Everybody else knew. Even the NBA knew. This is one of the most experienced teams. Beavis! What's up, Beavis? It means we have some back-end bench trade bait. You can't think of it that way, unfortunately. Those are the guys that are going to propel you under this type of CBA. That's why trading a Keon away is so important, because if you trade Keon away, you're also trading away the ability to pay him more without that going against the cap. Like if you're over the cap because of his contract, it doesn't put you into the tax because he's homegrown. He's your own free agent. It's what Oklahoma City has done. It's exactly what they've done. They've absorbed some bad contracts here and there, knowing, just buying time, while also just stacking pick after pick after pick. These are the guys that you're going to build on eventually, or you should theoretically build on. Unfortunately, I watched last season, poke my eyes out. Well, Beavis, I don't want to be butthead here, but Dougie McBuckets has re-signed. The reaction is bleh from the chat. My reaction is why now? That's my reaction to that. Hey, we were talking about the WNBA on Friday. They had their All-Star game this weekend, and the ladies came out in their shooting shirts. And this, well, I want to get to the game first. The game, and I want to have a little bit of a bigger discussion around this, but the game went off, all the bells and whistles as the men in terms of the All-Star game. They had a completely different format. Like they had these 4-point spots on the court. Hear me out. This is true. They had 4-point spots on the court. So the ladies were trying to get to those. They didn't have regular substitutions. They were doing hockey style substitutions while the game was going on. There was no free throws unless it was the last 2 minutes of a game. You were just awarded 2 points. So I'll give the WNBA a nod of the cap for trying something new, seeing that it doesn't work with the NBA. But ultimately, it kind of ended up the same way, where it was just up and down, not a lot of defense, everybody taking turns to take shots. But what was kind of most notable, not kind of, was most notable, was Caitlin Clark coming out, as well as every other WNBA All-Star, wearing shirts that say, "Pay us what you owe us." Recently, the players opted out of the CBA, and they're going to have to come to the table with the league and create a new CBA for future years. And the players have already kind of put their rhetoric out there very publicly and very clearly. I touched on the problem with what they're trying to ask for, and now kind of them showing the hole in their Swiss cheese by straight up coming out and wearing shirts that say, "Pay us what you owe us." Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine hit on it this morning as well. Here's what they had to say.
They wore shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." So that's a pretty strong message. And I don't know. I felt like on social media, there were some people that thought it was the greatest fashion statement they've ever seen. I think other people were saying, "Pay us what you owe us. The league is losing a ton of money. Maybe you should be paying the league since they're having such financial issues." But to be fair, they're bringing expansion teams are going for a lot of money. Do I think the salaries could be raised? Probably. But you tell me, do you think that's the right way to do it at an All-Star game like that, celebration of the game, and this is when you're going to decide to make a big statement?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about their negotiations. I have no idea how much like BRI they make, but a league that is really, starting to be on the rise, the popularity, you see the commercials, all of that stuff, right? Gives the illusion that the league is making money, like a ton of money, but it's not. It's losing money. So like all that does is pull back the curtain that like at this point, if you don't really know, how many people actually know that the WNBA lost $50 million last year. So when you wear a shirt like that, pay us what you owe us, right? It just comes across as you guys are uninformed because your league is losing money. It's always lost money. It's actually never made money, and it's only been subsidized by the NBA. So what exactly do they owe you in this situation? Like, you want everybody out there works for a business, and usually that business makes money, and they're all trying to get more money because they help the business make money. And like, it's just as simple as black and white in this one. You don't make enough money. You don't generate enough revenue to kind of ask for this at this point in time. So it feels a little bit strange.
Yeah.
So part of the reason that they were 50 million over budget last season is because after the Brittany Griner situation, they switched to chartered flights for all the teams. So you could point at that, but the league had never, as they pointed out, seen as much attention and as much money come in last season, largely because of Caitlin Clark. There was a lot made up of that. And you could even go back to this kind of public fight that is making the WNBA it's kind of a battlefield right now for all the wrong reasons. I mean, look at Robert Griffin III and the stuff he's thrown out there. How many fans have said, well, you know, Caitlin Clark, she's a certain color, so it's a different fan base, and the other players deserve the exact same attention. She's only getting that attention because of the color of her skin, to the point that you've got Shaq last week. I know I played this last week. I'm going to play it again. You had Shaq last week publicly say this to RG3.
Oh, speaking of man, RG3, tweet another monkey post about my girl Angel Reese. I'm punching your face, okay? It's enough. Like, I don't usually do stuff like this, but just stop it, bro. You got your job, you got your podcast, leave my Angel Reese alone. I'm the one calling her and telling her not to respond. Stop it. That's the last time, okay? Thank you. It's not real hate. If you look around what's going on in this real country, that's hate. This is sports. I'm not supposed to like you. It's a shame that all the stuff you did in your life, you're going to be remembered for your podcast. You're going to be remembered for your podcast. That should tell you you're not that great. I don't want to be remembered for Shaq's Bit podcast. I do not. Like, leave those girls alone. You already spoke on it. Let it go. So what? He hates us. So what? I hate you now for messing with her. Now what? Say something about me. But she's not going to respond because I'm the one calling her and be like, baby, keep it classy. Because she's not soft by any means. You're from the streets. But I'm like, you're beautiful. Don't indulge with these fools because he's a fool. You don't even have G14 classification to say that. I would respect it more if Lisa Leslie said it. Like, that's your category. Stay out of them people's category. Okay, you're sports, whatever you do, you talk about sports, but bro, you don't need to be going deep. Y'all can go deep. Y'all are females. Y'all understand what that's like. If he hates her, so what? Mind your business. Like, I don't mind you doing your job as anyone, but don't pick on that little girl. Because guess what? I'm her protector. Now pick on me. You pick on me, I'm going to punch you in your face.
So that was Shaq last week. And what Brian Scalabrine said was spot on. The women, and some of you are putting that here as well. The All-Stars that came out in these shirts, although I think many of us understand the message that they're trying to get across, they're trying to get it across to the usual viewer that doesn't watch the WNBA. They're trying to make it a thing. They're trying to fight this publicly, that women are not being paid the same as men. But for the informed viewer, it looks ignorant. It makes you wonder what your union is telling you. I guess my take on this is the WNBA and its players, they need to humble themselves. I'll say it again. They need to humble themselves. I'll start from the WNBA side. The WNBA not being prepared for the amount of eyeballs that was going to be on them come Caitlin Clark coming into the league is insane. Here's the other thing. Just because NBA is attached to the W does not mean that you have to have all of the same bells and whistles as the NBA. You know why? The NBA is making money. It's printing money because of their media rights deals. You are not. If I'm a WNBA player, I am asking the WNBA, where is this money going? Where is the money going? $25 million for charter flights. Understood. Get that. I think that's a fair thing in today's day and age, that they do not have to deal with the public and going through the airport with the amount of travel that they do. I'm good with that. Don't have an issue with it. But the WNBA clearly has some major issues with money being spent in places it probably shouldn't. Because we've got to put on the same show that the NBA puts on. Let me ask you, does the G League put on the same show that the NBA puts on? No, they don't. And that's the G League connected to the NBA. You think those guys are on chartered flights all the time? No, they're not. Do you think they're staying at the Ritz? No, they're not. It's easy to look at Caitlin Clark. It's easy to look at some of the other teams, the Vegas Aces, the Sparks, teams with very good fan bases like Indiana's fan base. It's more expensive for a regular season WNBA ticket than it was a Pacers ticket this season. And so the WNBA is pushing this narrative like, we've got to keep up with the men. We've got to keep up with the men. And the women, I'm sorry, you are the top 1% of what you do. But just like the NBA almost went out of business, what was it, 50 years ago? Before Dr. Jerry Buss bought the Lakers, it was right there on the fringe. He was told that league was a bad investment. Just like those players had to grind and raise the level of the game, they have to as well. The WNBA wants to make you think that every arena is a sellout. And while in reality, most teams last year, all teams had an increase in attendance, because you're going to see some of the other players that are in the league now, the ones that you see on TV, the increases that they put out there were meant to mislead the public. They're like, hey, look at some of these other teams. The Seattle Storm, they're up 25.3% in attendance. Look at Phoenix, they're up 16.5%. Look at Connecticut, they're up 35.3%. Dallas, up 27.4%. Atlanta, 57.8%. Do you know what that 57.8% was in actuality? The average attendance in an Atlanta Dream game was 4,743. The Dallas Wings, 5,911. The Washington Mystics, 6,542. Do you know what the G League does? Do you know what Stockton does? Do you know what AAA baseball, AA baseball does? And remind you, too, when you look at a WNBA uniform, there's ads everywhere. They're bigger than they are on the men's uniforms. So advertisers are already getting more space. But what do the smaller leagues do? They have days where it is a school district day, where all the schools, when Stockton has they'll have one game per year where it's like a 12 p.m. game or an 11 a.m. game, excuse me. And they have schools out to the game to fill the building and to expose kids to the game. The WNBA, if you want to be on the right side of the revenue stream, they're going to have to start getting back to the basics. The players should be worried less about pay us what you owe us and worried more about where is the money going. Isn't that the biggest question? They've got to scale down the expense, the costs, the operating expenses just for a game if you're at a big arena. The All-Star game had every bell and whistle that the guys had. Why? You've got to scale down. You know what you have to do? This is the number one thing, in my opinion, the WNBA has to do. Their players, their coaches, they need to be accessible. Let me repeat that. You need to humble yourself and you need to be more accessible. Instead of taking 30, 40-minute showers after the game, speaking to the media, talking in the hallway, and heading home, your butts should be headed to the concourse to sign autographs for everyone in the building, even if that's what it takes every night. Because you know what? You've got to get closer to the fans. You have to bring your fans in more intimately to make them feel like they are a part of this thing. Stockton does it all the time. Minor league baseball teams do it all the time. But the WNBA isn't going to be willing to do it, and the players aren't going to be willing to do it because why? We're NBAers with a W attached. Well, in reality, you're only playing because that NBA is attached. Because the league have subsidized you. So I can't even talk right now. It's not like you talk for a living. The league has been making up your shortfall with subsidies every year that you've been in existence. So both sides have some major work to do. And I would bet your best bet isn't to battle this out in the media. If you end up going into a strike, you're going to have big, big problems. You know what struck me as hilarious? Check this out. You're not going to hear this anywhere else because I really dug into this. No, you know what? I disagree. That's the thing, Haunted Horse. I actually think it's good basketball. It's more fundamental than the men, and it's more team-oriented because it's below the rim for the most part. So I do think it's actually decent basketball. But check this out. You're going to hold an entire weekend like the NBA does. And who knows? Maybe I'm off because I don't see the WNBA books. Maybe it's profitable to take over a city for a weekend. But I would probably think you don't have fans from around the world flying into that city for the All-Star game. My guess is your target audience for that All-Star game is just that fan base that fills that arena every other night, which is why you're seeing All-Star games that are in cities that sell out, that have Caitlin Clarks, that have Angel Reese's, right? They're not going to take an All-Star game to one of the cities, Connecticut. They're going to take them there? No. Because you'd have less than 5,000 fans. But you put on this big extravagant event where you've got a stage that's in the arena, just like the men. Check this out. With the NBA, per player, for participating in the NBA. The winning team gets $125,000 each. Each player gets $125,000. The losing team gets $50,000. So each player for the losing team gets $50,000 on that grand stage that the NBA puts out. And don't get me started. That their side from a game standpoint's a mess. That's a mess. The financials are not. That's what the men get paid. You know what the women get paid? $2,575 for participating. How about the 3-point contest winner, Sabrina Ionescu, this last weekend? She made a whopping $1,030 for winning the 3-point competition. Do you know what the men get paid for winning the 3-point competition? $60,000. How about the skills competition? The guys made $55,000. The girls made $1,030. The reason you are getting paid, in some cases, like less than 10%, 5% of what the men are being paid is because you are operating on an NBA budget to the public. But behind the scenes, with your average salaries that we went over on Friday, they're nowhere near what the men's are. $147,745 is the average salary amount in the WNBA. The minimum for a player that's 2 years or younger into the league, into their career, $66,079. The veteran minimum, which is 3 years or more, is $78,831. The guys are easily into the 6 digits, the lower end of the 6 digits. And it's because that is what the owners can afford to pay. You've got to put your hard hat on. You've got to get uncomfortable, and you got to learn how to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Both sides have blame here. Both sides need to, and I mean this, maybe you need to drop the NBA from your name. And I don't mean that with any disrespect to what the women have done, the skill they have, how they got there. But it is a complete joke that you can associate WNBA with NBA just strictly off of the businesses. So if the women want to play on the we're women, we deserve equal pay, just like it is in the real world, which all of us believe in, we want revenue share, then you better get to work. You better probably play in smaller venues. You probably should tone down All-Star weekend. You should probably lower ticket prices, because getting $2 for a ticket is better than getting nothing. Because you know what comes with that $2 for the ticket? There's the $20 for parking at very minimum. Probably a hot dog or a popcorn and a soda. There's another $30. So that $2 turns into $50 to $60 that the owners are making. Hell, do what the Savannah Bananas do. Give them free food. The fans. Free hot dogs, free popcorn, free soda. Have you looked at the Savannah Bananas books lately? Have you noticed they've been playing at major league baseball stadiums and selling them out? The WNBA has to get creative, because the way it is right now, it's unsustainable. You want to know why I know that? Because they have never been profitable, and they won't be profitable again this year. So what do y'all think? I just think it's one of those situations that nobody really wants to talk about, but both sides need to be called out here. What are you doing with our money? And conversely, yes, we're WNBAers, but yeah, the WNBA is not the NBA. Savannah Bananas put WNBA players on skill. Okay. So I'm not suggesting that you turn the game into an entertainment. I'm suggesting pulling things from successful other sports ventures, whether it's minor league baseball teams, whether it is G League teams. You got to start doing the stuff that they're doing at very minimum. You do. The Stockton Kings, once a week, I believe, or once a homestand. I don't know. They'll say it's autograph night. They go out, they sign autographs on the concourse. That's the WNBA guys who are making more than the women. Or that's the G League guys, excuse me, that are making more than the women in the WNBA. Is the WNBA basketball smaller? Yes, it is. No, you are. Well, I just don't know, man. I never know with you. Sometimes you're on it, and then sometimes I'm just like blown away by what you don't know, horse. You're tough to figure out, my man. Can anybody really object with me there?
I didn't know there were two holes. I thought it was just the one.
Love fried bananas. Can't share revenue if there isn't revenue. Yes. Love bananas. We talking about the bananas, or are we talking about the Savannah Bananas? Incredible what that guy did with that team, and what he continues to do with that team, and what they do charitably. I wonder what they're worth right now. It must be through the roof. I bet you the Savannah Bananas. Do you think the Savannah Bananas are worth more than the WNBA? No, that's crazy. They're not worth more than the WNBA. But Tristan, I hope you're talking about.
Tristan, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, come on, Tristan.
Come on.
We're talking about the Savannah Bananas. We're not talking about bananas, because if the conversation goes to actual bananas, the next comment that I'm going to have in the chat is never look a dude in the eye while eating a banana. And the show's going to go completely off track. We don't need that. We don't need that. You know, that Super Bowl guy gave Gary Vee a lot of, or Savannah Banana guy gave Gary Vee a lot of credit for some of their ideas. NBA ball. Yeah. Okay. What's the ball matter? Why are we talking about the basketball? You guys didn't know a women's ball was smaller? Makes sense, right? Get your own league, your own sponsors, your own TV content. You're seeing that. What's the league that they just put together? Is it Undefeated that was playing in the off season? Blake, what's up, man? They don't make the money. They have never turned a profit. It's a welfare league. And that's what, okay. I think that is a fair comment, because it is. It's being supplemented. So that's a fair comment. But my point is, the players can't sit there and point at the league. Because if you're a casual viewer, there's already an objection to watching women's basketball. If you're just a men's basketball fan, right? What's the objection? It's not that they're women. It's the game's slower. They don't play above the rim. There's natural objections there. So if you're trying to build new fans, the last thing you need back and forth between your players, you know, the players saying, Caitlin Clark telling a ref to grow up, seeing stories about the referees being subpar. You know, like, these are pillars of the game. If the referees are subpar and this league's losing $50 million a year, why is that? That's a big problem. Like, you have to fix the things that absolutely have to be fixed. If the refereeing's one of them, you have to fix it. It's fundamental to the game. But to be making this about social issues, most people in this day and age are going to run away from that rather than run to it. You're coming to watch a sports game to get away from all that, right? Most of us. So the players own a large part of the responsibility too. And here's the last thing. There's a lot of women. If you're playing at UConn, if you're playing at one of the powerhouses for women's basketball in college, it's very likely. Let's say you're not a Caitlin Clark, but you're the second best player on the team. You might be staying in school longer because you're going to make more money in school, which is also then hurting the WNBA. So the pay thing is legitimate, because if girls or women, are going to hold off to going in, that's just going to put more eyeballs on college instead. I think that was the separator. If I have to think about it, I think you had two separate fan bases. You had a college basketball fan base, women's college basketball, and you had a WNBA fan base. And I think because of Caitlin Clark, because it was something like you had never seen, that brought a third audience into this, which was men's basketball fans, which was people that only watch the NBA. They got to check out this Caitlin Clark girl, right? And it's the first time these audiences merge. So the ratings are through the roof, but you weren't ready for it. And how you couldn't be ready for it is just beyond me. So if players want to go after the WNBA for not monetizing the business correctly, awesome. But what if the WNBA has put 20 things in front of the players union and said, we think that if you guys did this, 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 and this, things that really aren't that big of a deal, like signing autographs, like doing, like some of those more personal things that the guys don't have to do, you've got to drop that. Your league is not the NBA of women's basketball. It's not. If it was, it would be making money. I'm not saying it would be making money like the NBA. It would at least be making money. Let's be honest, it's an inferior product and nobody wants to watch it. Even women. I disagree. I know a lot of people that enjoy watching women's basketball, especially WNBA basketball. I know a lot of them. And some of them have been turned off because of the social elements that have bled into the game. Let's be honest, the message we're getting paid less is because we're women, nothing more. You know what? That's how it will come across to some people. And that's why I think that was a very, very bad mistake. It's not like you are walking on an earthquake certified concrete structure that is impossible to knock down to cross a river. It's not like you're walking on something like that. That's not the fan base that you have. In fact, you might be missing your best opportunity to be making these fans and making them lifetime fans and maybe generational fans. You're walking on eggshells. Like, I don't think they realize this is a tinderbox. I mean, am I ignorant to say, should there be a discussion about shutting down the WNBA and creating a new league? I don't think it's fair to ask the WNBA to continue running business as is and to be paying the players money that they don't have. I just don't. Maybe this thing needs to be completely rethought. I mean, would women... I wonder how this would be looked at if NBA is not attached to this league. Funny, it was the same WNBA player who didn't want to sign the autograph because she said it was weird. Well, look, I'm not going to go off of one thing. I mean, they are women. We have to, you do have to equate that into this. You have to have the proper security as the men. I've argued this so many times over the last 6 months that the NBA has a similar problem with probably compensating their players with a greater share of the revenue that comes in from gambling ads and sponsors because of the amount of BS they're dealing with on the back end that's league caused. So you got to protect the players both ways. I'd say the WNBA is a dating pool for the WNBA. No, I don't think so. How many NBA players are married to WNBA players? Yeah, Rhino, control yourself before the show comes off the rail. Peter, I got your drop somewhere. Where is it? It's somewhere. It's really brief, right? It's like 2 seconds. Control yourself. No, that's coming home. You don't want that one. Yeah, I don't know, Peter. I can't find it, or else I'd play it for you. Maybe this is it. Yeah, it is.
Behave yourselves!
Behave yourselves. So anyways, I had to get that off my chest. The Houston Comets had several championships. Houston is the fourth largest city. They haven't had a team for a long time. Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. There's got to be that line there. You got to pay a ticket to come get it. Yeah, I'm with you. One thing, one autograph. I watched the Oregon Ducks women's if they make the tourney, but I am not going to watch the WNBA. That surprises me, Horse. Usually you're there if it is involving women. So anyways, all right. Get your own league. I go back to that. Start a competitor. Do it your own way. I mean, Unrivaled, isn't that the name of the league? Unrivaled, I think, that was on TBS. It was a smaller court because it was like 3-on-3, 4-on-4. You know, it's not so much about canceling it, but if they strike, it's the perfect opportunity to have it go away. I mean, Unrivaled, here's the thing. You're never going to have competition until somebody takes that step out and says, you know what, we're not gonna stand for this anymore. We can do it better. Because Unrivaled is played while the WNBA is in the off season. You need somebody to step out and come up with a competitor to it. And if you can find a way to do it better, more creative, I think that the players have this idea that I'm an NBAer. You know, it's caviar, it's five-star hotels, it's $140 a per diem a day. There's like this standard. And yes, you might be the best women in the world at playing basketball, but you're not NBAers. You're not. If you were, your league would be making money. Drop the NBA association, man. I don't know. I'm open to ideas, and I think both sides of this argument need to be open to ideas as well. So that was one of my quasi grievances, that the women ended up coming out and wearing those shirts.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
You get to watch. You ask for strike. Yeah. That don't make no sense. You know, Johnny? Fitting. I'm with you. That doesn't make no sense. I'll give you that.
That don't make no sense.
You know what does make a lot of sense, though? I'm not going to lie. It makes a ton of sense. A good meal, a fair price, great deals, awesome specials, seasonal menus. All those things are all at Bennett's restaurants here in the greater Sacramento area. Three in all. Rockland, Roseville, and also Howe and Fair Oaks. Bennett's, we love them so much, and so many of you have been awesome in going out and supporting them and falling in love with the food and the people like we have with Brian and Margot and the entire staff. But if you are in the mood for a prime steak, a nice freshly grilled piece of fish, specifically the redfish, awesome. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. Look at their full dinner menu. You can also check out all the specials, which include weekend brunch, wine and dine Monday, happy hour 2 to 6 o'clock, and now the new Taste of Summer menu. They get you 2 courses for $30. Add on an extra $5. Turn it into 3 courses. Telling you, awesome place. Does not break the bank, fills the belly, and you feel like, did I just steal something? Like, if you are a college student, if you're just in your first job right now, take your parents to Bennett. So they're going to be like, dude, are you like working illegally? Are you gambling? How are you able to afford this? It's because Bennett makes it reasonable and gives you seasonal and always fresh food. So go check them out. Prime rib also on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. You can make reservations at bennettsrestaurants.com. You can also buy gift cards and check out all the menus and specials. Big thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode of the King's Court. Told you we've got a couple of new sponsors coming on, specifically here on the King's Court. Hope one for sure, 2 that I am really excited about. Hope both of those pan out. One will be introduced to you here in the next month, definitely before the season starts. Can't wait to get you up with them, because you will enjoy that very much. And always let us know when you go into Bennett's, because we will repost it. Like BG Chris, he told us that they went there for his 17th wedding anniversary. And then let them know that you heard about them here on the channel. And Brian loves chatting you up. We love passing the feedback along. So let us know. Bennett, who's going this weekend? Dude, the brunch is pretty good. 11 to 2 p.m. Bottle of champagne, 2 entrees, $45.99. Come on. We do need to get that. Look at baseball. Yeah, it's not going to be good. The only sport that can survive lockouts without a problem is the NFL. Even they get a little bit of pushback, but they're able to get through it. So, all right, tomorrow, we've got a big day. You know what day it is. If you've been here before, it's Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. Both Jerry and I thought that the Kings would win Summer League. We were 5 points off, but I'm interested to talk to Jerry. I want to see what he saw, because I know he's looking at the game different than a lot of people in his own way. That's why he's Jerry Reynolds. We'll talk to him about Neek. We'll talk to him about Max. Certainly the Devin Carter experiment at point guard. and get your questions. Maybe not so wrestling heavy this weekend, please, or this Tuesday. If you don't mind, I don't mind obscure, but wrestling, that was a mouthful, man. I felt like Jerry Jones saying something like this.
There's a pony in here somewhere is the old adage with the boy scooping up the manure on Christmas Day and whistling while he was doing it. Here comes Santa Claus. Well, that's us.
I can't wait for Jared to come back. Who's excited for some Jerry Jones? Scotty Scheffler, who we have not talked about as well, saying winning, it's okay. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that. There's more to life than winning in sports. Unless you're Charlie Sheen, then life is about winning. So, all right, it's your last opportunity. Get in here on the chat or call because we are going to get out of here. You know what? There's this guy that's on the show all the time. He does a DJ show on Friday nights. You can go to HollywoodRejects.com, find out about that. But you know what? I'll take 5 minutes of requests. You got a soundbite you want to hear? I'll take 5 minutes. Go ahead, put them in. I'll see if I can get them up as quick as possible as we close the show out and we look to the slower part of the calendar for us in sports as everybody goes into vacation mode in the NBA, especially the executives. Adam needs to be here to ask for it. I'm not doing drops on behalf of somebody else. It's not going to be signed so-and-so. If you want to drop, you got to put it in. LOL. Yeah, we're not going there. Maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe we should burn this idea to the ground before it gets any. Oh, wow. Burn it down! Oh, he's there. He's there. Start an A's show. We were thinking about starting a baseball segment here on the show. Do I have Sabonis point guard? I don't think I have that. It's off the board right now. Biggest thing we need right now is a point guard. Tristan, pay attention. I got that. Here you go, Tristan.
Oh, boy, that's a tough one.
Oh.
Now, see this guy.
See, I need to categorize a little bit better. Here you go, Tristan.
Tristan, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, come on, Tristan.
Come on.
I am Peter. What did I miss? Tristan, pay attention. We got that. Give me some Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. Okay. Want some baseball? I'm a man. Now we're going deep. I wonder if we had a soundbite tournament, what would win? What would be the number one sound drop? I mean, the whole I'm a man.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
There's some funnier ones. Like, I think this one is way better. He's holding a newspaper and he's like, this was brought to me by a mother of children.
This was brought to me by a mother of children.
Start any other sports segment. It will be better than 1140. Whew. Yeah. I have some friends that work at 1140. Dave does a great job. Jason does a great job. I really like Drapes too. Whitey is a legend. Jay Johnson. I'm not gonna hate on them. Even though we run at the same time. Those guys have been really good. Iron Maiden, hallowed by thy name. Yeah, I don't know that rock stuff, So, holy moly, Jim Bob Bully, currently not on the board. I don't have that on the board. I'll improve the board. We'll get the board a little bit more organized. Darko's telling me right now.
It's a complete crap.
We'll get that fixed up. But yeah, we'll have some fun. We're going to introduce a new segment on Wednesday. It's going to be a basketball segment where it's going to test our knowledge collectively.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
We will definitely do that. Late Friday. You can't handle the truth. I don't think I have You Can't Handle the Truth. If I go to the movie.
Blue, you're my boy! Thank you.
I got Blue. I got Welcome to the Party or Welcome to the Party, Pal. I got Denny Green. They are
Now,
who
if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
No, I do not. 11:40 clock in, clock out. There's no competition. I mean, on the radio. I wouldn't say that for the morning there. I wouldn't say that for the afternoon. I'm not going to hate on their shows. I got nothing against them. They're doing what they do. 60% of the time it works every time. Dude, yes, I have so much Ackerman, but I don't have that. Spot on. That will be in there. Somebody else, Beavis didn't ask for it, but somebody asked for Macho Man, and it sent me off into a completely different place. I mean, I've got Jerry Reynolds doing this. Y'all remember this
people
one?
involved, and I think that especially with the other scores on the floor, it probably needs to back off that a little bit.
Jerry, here's the question of the year. What should Doty be expecting for Valentine's tomorrow?
Just probably we'll just spend all day making love. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how exactly is that made, Jerry? Is it a baked recipe?
I'm going to get off the program right now. You guys have a good show.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one. That's one of the better Jerry Reynolds moments.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was solid. I know everybody can agree with this guy. So we do have Juice Box. That's because of Mason Jones.
One for these kids, I would whip your butt. I can take a punch. I'm out of here. Bye-bye. I'll see you, Mr. Big Time Coach. Bye-bye. I'm not like my old man. I'm a kind and gentle, compassionate human being with a heart as big as a lion. We'll see you later, Juice Box.
Inside joke with the team and Mace there. Do we have that? Grant saying moron. We've got something close to it. Got a screaming match.
Grant! Dennis, stop for a minute. I didn't say anything bad about you, Dennis.
I love you, Grant.
We have Dennis saying moron.
Nobody's going to be a moron when they love this team, is what I'm saying.
All right. Get your suggestions in. We'll build up the board. It's what the off season's for. I wonder if we did a sound drop tournament, what would win? I mean, there's a decent amount of stuff.
The meatloaf! We want.
There's a lot of stuff. How about Bobby Marks? Anybody disagree with this?
Sacramento fans deserve better. Because you do.
We have so you're telling me there's a chance. We also have some
The tiny one can't take a hint. He doesn't understand. He is small.
That's for Haunted Horse. Y'all agree with this?
Sell the team, man.
We can keep going. How about you, Sweat Hogs?
For all you fat, out of shape, Springfield Sweat Hogs.
All right. So you're telling me there's a chance. Yes, I'm telling you there's a chance. We're back tomorrow at 3:00. Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, one of our favorite days of the year. Make sure that you come back with us. We'll be talking a lot of things in terms of Kings basketball, slow time of the summer, and get into kind of the nitty gritty. Signing Doug McDermott, I guess that's notable because it's a signing. For me, just why was it? Why now? That's my question. Wouldn't Doug have been there before? So yeah, we'll talk about that all tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Thanks for going through the WNBA stuff with me. Thanks to Bennett for sponsoring today's show. We We'll catch you on the flip side with the one and only Mr. Jerry Reynolds joining us. Can't wait for that. And guess what? I'm not just telling you a chance. I'm telling you he'll be here.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Go Kings, light the beam. Court's dismissed.
Order in the court.